Okay, this is the C440 HVA charge controller for wind, solar, hydro. It's a diversion and disconnect controller, and it has user changeable set points. This button here is a test dump button, and you have to hold it down for up to 5 seconds, and you might have to wait. And when the red light comes on, that is disconnect and dumping. The green light tells you how full your battery is, and or the voltmeter. You can see the voltmeter here. This is the amp meter, and that will tell you normally how much wind amps are going to your battery. You can change that to show solar amps, but only one or the other. Now, these pins here are for your 12 volt, 24 volt, 48 volt, and extended diversion mode. It should come with the jumper across the 24 volt position, which is the second one down. And your extended diversion mode jumper will be hanging on only one pin, or off to the side here. And you can put that across both pins for extended diversion mode, or leave it hanging off for non-extended. Change your jumper pin setting before you hook it to the batteries and before you hook up wind and solar. Okay, I'm going to show you how to change the dump point voltage using this pot. It has a screw-looking center, screw head. Do not change these ones. These are not user changeable. So with a small screwdriver, you insert it in the screw head and you turn it very small, approximately 1/20th or 1/10th of a turn. Counterclockwise will raise your dump point voltage higher. Typically for Outback inverter charger or any other inverter charger, you would want to set it at about 1 volt higher. So for a 24 volt system, that would be 29.8 or 29.5. And if your controller goes into diversion while your inverter charger is charging, turn it just a little bit more counterclockwise to raise that dump point voltage. And it's a very small turn. Counterclockwise raises the dump point voltage, clockwise lowers the dump point voltage. Okay, the extended diversion mode jumper is basically something that you can leave in the off position or hanging off from one pin. And when you get experience with your system, it's best to use extended diversion mode if you feel that you need to. Basically, it will hold the charge controller in a diversion and disconnect for a longer period of time. This breaker here is for your diversion load, and this breaker here is for your wind turbine. And you can manually trip them by pressing this button. And you must reset it until you hear that click. Now, if your front display is turned on and the display is not working, then check the glass fuse up in the top corner. It may be blown. The fuse is a 250 volt 2.5 amp. Okay, the meters, if the fuse checks out okay, but the meter is not displaying or displaying incorrectly, pop the back cover of the meter off. Preferably you turn your power off first, and see if the long black chip is hanging out of its pins. Just snugly press it back into the pins, and if it doesn't go back to working, there could be damage to it. It's very important that you always have the controller hooked directly to the batteries, and you do not hook up wind or solar without having the controller hooked to the batteries. If you have a disconnect between the controller and the batteries, always disconnect your wind and solar before disconnecting the controller from the batteries. Okay, when you first hook up the controller, make sure you hook it up to the batteries before you hook up your wind and solar. Otherwise, if your wind turbine or your solar panel produce too high a voltage, it will either take out the fuse, and if the fuse can't catch it in time, the circuit board could be damaged. Wind turbines and solar panels can put out very high voltages.